from the News Channel 5 Network and Urban League of Middle Tennessee. This is Urban League Live.
Hello, Middle Tennessee, and welcome to Urban League Live. I'm your host, Clifton Harris, President and CEO of the Urban League of Middle Tennessee. For years, the Nashville area has experienced consistent growth, and a strong, reliable source of energy is essential to accommodate that growth. Nashville Electrical Services, our city's electrical utility provider, since 1939, NES has served homes and businesses across our city. Like the Urban League, NES is committed to supporting the growth of our communities and our experience that we are experiencing. While the Urban League helps to empower Middle Tennessee, NES helps to keep the community powered. I'm currently serving as a member of the Electrical Service Board, and it is that position that I am proud to say that I have the opportunity to serve as a connector between NES and the citizens of Nashville. I am pleased to welcome with me today Teresa Broyles-Aplin, NES President and CEO, to discuss the ways NES is playing an integral role in our city's consistent growth. Welcome, Teresa, to Urban League Live. I am so excited to have you here today, and we're going to jump right in with, so tell us a little bit about NES and the services that you provide to the community.
Excellent, thank you. Nashville Electric Service, commonly referred to as NES, was established in 1939 for purposes of providing electric service to the region. We serve all of Davidson County and portions of 6 surrounding counties, which is about 700 square miles.
That's a lot of miles.
It is a lot of miles, and it makes us the 11th largest public power utility in the nation.
Oh, wow.
And to give some light on public power, we are not an investor-owned utility that has that is beholden to shareholders and has to turn a profit to return to the shareholders. As a public power entity, we operate as a nonprofit and with a goal of providing safe, reliable, and affordable power to our customers.
And I would imagine that helps keep the cost down as much as possible, right?
It certainly does.
Great, cool. So what would you say is the overarching impact of NES in the community?
Well, providing such a critical service as electricity to our community is a big charge all on its own, and we take that very seriously to provide the best service possible to our customers. But we're also a bit of an economic engine, because if you're looking to build something, if businesses are looking to relocate into Nashville or there's a development, we're involved, because without reliable power, you can't expand. So in a growing city, we play a pretty vital role.
So your fingerprint is in just about every aspect of the growth of the city. No, that's a huge responsibility.
It certainly is, and we also try to be a good member of our community. We have a lot of programs to help our customers. We have some bill assistance programs, and then one of my favorite things that we do is our Home Uplift program, which is
Tell us a little bit about that.
It is a weatherization program for low-income families, and it's not just caulking and insulation. We're replacing HVAC units, replacing HVAC units, and making major improvements to homes for our neighbors right here in the Nashville area that need that help. And so it's one of my favorite things, because it not only reduces their energy burden and improves their quality of life.
That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. So NES primarily serves the metro Nashville area. However, your service extends to other communities. Let's talk a little more about that as well.
Certainly. As I mentioned, we serve all of Nashville-Davidson, but then portions of 6 surrounding counties. And so we have a pretty large footprint and touch a lot of different communities. In each of those, we pay in lieu of taxes to those governments, just like we do to the Metro Nashville government. And we have great cooperative relationships. For example, during the tornadoes of 2023, when there was a lot of damage in North Nashville, Madison, and Hendersonville, we collaborated and worked together to do a rapid and unified response to the outages that were in that area.
I'm amazed at the things and all that your team is able to do in such a short amount of time, given the complexity of what they're having to deal with. I have a new appreciation for when I see the bucket trucks and all rolling up and down the street now. I even notice new telephone poles when they're on trucks coming in. So that's pretty cool. So what are some of the misconceptions about NES, and how have you worked to inform the community about NES's actual responsibilities for those things?
There are quite a few misconceptions.
I'm sure
there are a couple around tree trimming. One being that we have customers sometimes that are concerned that we may be trimming aggressively and not taking into account the health of the trees, and that couldn't be further from the truth. We do species-specific trimming.
Species-specific trimming.
That is intended to ensure the health of the tree. There are really two pieces to that. It's beneficial in that they look at the trees and say, okay, this tree will grow at this pace over the trim cycle, so we need to trim it this far so that we're not over trimming the trees. We're trimming them just as much as we need to for them to not get into our lines during the trim cycle. And then they're also ensuring that we're trimming them to the best health of the tree. So I think most people don't realize that we go to that depth of effort, and we have arborists on our staff. We outsource our tree trimming, but we have arborists on our own staff that oversee the planning and the post-cutting inspections. So we take a lot of pride in making sure that we are cutting the trees in a healthy fashion.
That is really detailed, because my office, we have an arboretum. I think that's how it's pronounced.
Right. Yes.
For the grounds, and I know how much time and attention that they place on each tree, and they go around every so often inspecting each tree to see how it's doing. And so you have that much detail on your staff before they go out and cut trees. They know specifically what type of tree it is and how much is supposed to be cut back.
Yes.
That's pretty amazing.
We care about the canopy. We have to live here too, and so I don't want us out destroying the canopy.
Yeah. So wow, so I know you probably don't have a typical day, but what is a typical day now for the president and CEO of NES?
Oh goodness! If you've met my fabulous assistant,
yes,
her job is not easy because I'm in meetings all day. I'm in some kind of meeting all day, and I change topics pretty frequently. So. I'm trying to solve all kinds of problems, and I get out in the field with my team. I've made a concerted effort to go out and see what my field crews are doing,
That's awesome.
Interact with them, and understand their concerns, what needs and tools they may need that they don't already have.
That's cool. So hold it right there. When we return, Teresa and I are going to discuss the challenges and the opportunities that NES is facing as they work to provide power to our thriving city. Welcome back to Urban League Live. I'm joined by Teresa Broyles-Aplin, NES President and CEO. Teresa, when we left off, we said we're going to talk a little bit about some of the challenges. So what do you see as some of the challenges and opportunities for NES as the community continues to grow and technology changes, particularly as we look at the impact of clean energy?
Certainly. One of the biggest challenges for us as a public power provider is staying ahead of the growth. We can't start building a substation at the point that we need it. We have to have it built by the time the development is there. And so we have to know what's going on. And we use a 20-year plan to try to project what's going to happen. But of course, things are unpredictable. And as part of that 20-year plan, we put together a roadmap of, for example, Wedgwood Houston had development earlier than we had anticipated in our 20-year plan. But through that plan, we put together the pieces of, okay, if we have significant development, what are the things we need to build to support that in this area? We just expedited that out of our 20-year plan at the point that they started having more growth in that neighborhood. So that's an example, but we have to stay ahead. We can't wait.
So you're always working out in advance, of renewal and growth.
Absolutely, we have to. And some ways that we do that is embracing technology and trying to work to stay ahead of things. But Some challenges we have underway just in our city that are really exciting are, for one, the East Bank project is the largest economic development project in the state right now. It will produce an enormous amount of work for us.
Okay.
There's a lot of infrastructure that needs to go in the ground over there, not just for us, but the water department and others have the same challenges. It's an exciting opportunity. And then you have the transit project that we don't yet know what the scope of the work will be needed for us, but I can anticipate that if they have this traffic corridor and they're planning to make major changes to it to put in transit infrastructure, they're going to need us to relocate maybe permanently some of our infrastructure.
Right.
So in preparation for all of that, we've done some restructuring and created a new department. I now have a new department with the vice president over grid transformation and project management, because it's going to require an enormous amount of collaboration and coordination along with project management to be able to manage these gigantic projects that where we're going to be involved in the city and developers. So that's one of the things we've tried to do to adapt to the growth that's going on in the city. Now, from a technology and green perspective, we have an exciting project underway through what we call our flexibility under our TVA contract. We can buy up to 5% of our power from someone other than TVA. So we have engaged in a contract with Silicon Ranch for a utility scale solar array that will generate 160 megawatts of power that we can procure from them to supply green energy to our customers. And the beautiful thing about that is that it not only gives us sustainability, it's cheaper. It will save us money because the rate is lower than what we currently pay to TVA.
We're all about saving money.
That's right.
Now you mentioned you mentioned TVA. Explain to us now the partnership between TVA and NES.
Well, in our 85 years of existence, we have historically bought all of our power from TVA. They have been, we are in a long-term contract with them, and they have been a partner for all of that time. So they generate the power and transmit it to our region where we pick that up and then we distribute the power to our customers and transmit it across our own system. So that is a long-standing relationship, and we partner with them on programs also. So the Home Uplift program was originally a program they initiated, and they still pay the administrative fees on that, program for us. So that's been a long-standing relationship.
I got to tell you a little secret. When I joined the NES board, I used to complain about my utility bill all the time, but when I saw your utility bill, I decided I would never complain about my utility bill ever again.
Yes, what we as a company pay for power each month is pretty enormous.
It is. It certainly is. So, so tell us a little bit, about how you plan to. You said 85 years, right? That you've been in partnership with TVA. So what's changed over the last 85 years? What are some of the things that have changed?
Well, I have to say that for decades, the power industry was pretty stagnant. There weren't a lot of changes going on in the utility industry for a very long time. And over the last 15 to 20 years, it's just changing rapidly. You have changes in technology, tons of changes in technology, the power, the transformation that we're going through with a move to clean energy is making a big difference. And then customer expectations are different also. I think customers expect to interact with their utilities in a different fashion than they used to.
Yeah.
So I think there's a whole lot that's changed. And it's a lot of the reason that we are working towards being a more customer-centric organization that is technology-driven.
Right.
So we are moving forward, embracing a lot of new technologies. We just went through a major project to replace our customer information system, which internally will help us be more efficient. Our old one was 40 years old, coded in COBOL, and really needed to be replaced. So there were a lot of efficiencies to be gained internally from implementing a new system. But also, we weren't able to meet our customers where they are. Our customers really expect us to be able to communicate with them in different ways. They don't want to call into a call center every time they need to sign up for service or if they need to make payment arrangements. And we needed to bring that to our customers. So this was one of the first steps in being able to provide a lot of new things to our customers. It came with a lot of self-service opportunities, so customers can now sign up for service online. They can now make payment arrangements online. We now have online chat with our customers, and we'll be rolling out an app soon. So we're really embracing technology to try to meet our customers where they are, and that has not been the historical traditional utility model.
And I got to say, going to your new technology system, your staff made it look so easy. I know it was not, but they made it look so easy and seamless. So let's talk a little bit about the impact that you have on our workforce. Tell us a little bit about what does the workforce look like for NES?
Well, what's interesting is our workforce has shrunk over the 19 years I've been at NES. When I first started there, we had about 1,000 employees. Right now we're around 920. So we've leveraged technology to shrink our workforce over that time frame. But as you know, we're in a growing city, so we're adding customers every day. And as there's more demand on our system, there's a need for different expertise and potentially more people. So a growing company doesn't necessarily mean we need more people. It may just be that we need different skill sets for some of the things that we're doing. So as we're adopting new technologies, we clearly need the skill sets to support those things. And we've been really deliberate in not filling a lot of those roles and kind of holding off to look at them strategically to say, what do we need moving into the future to better serve our customers? So I mentioned the grid transformation department. We're going to need more grid transformation expertise and people. We recently hired a sustainability manager, so that was another role that we needed. So our workforce is evolving as we figure out what we need going forward. Now, from a pipeline perspective for our workforce, we have an incredible talent pool right under our noses here in Davidson County with a very large public school system. And we have struggled to tap into that talent at times. We've realized we weren't getting as many in our workforce as we wanted.
Cool. So put a pin right there and we'll pick back up. When we return, we'll tell you more and all about what's next for NES in the future. And don't touch that dial. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Urban League Live. We're continuing our conversation with Teresa Broyles-Aplin, NES President and CEO. And let's talk a little bit about the where we left off, Teresa, with the workforce, and then we want to talk a little bit about the future of where NES is going.
Excellent. Well, what I was mentioning is we have a big talent pool in the public schools here in Davidson County. There are a lot of students, and we historically have not gotten as many of them into our workforce as we wanted. So we've created an operations internship program that is helping us recruit students directly into our workforce, and we're excited about that.
And is that through the academy program with?
It is not. We do participate in the academy program. This is open to students at any of the schools across any of the high schools across Davidson County.
Well, that's cool. That's cool. Can parents find out more about that on the website?
I believe they can, and if they don't see it there, they can contact our HR department. The schools also have good information about it because they've helped send students to us.
Cool, cool. So tell us about, what do you see the future for NES?
Well, I see a strong focus on the customer. Everything we do, I remind the team that any decision we make needs to be focused around the customer. And then technology adoption. We've been focused on innovation. I even hired an innovation focused vice president to help lead the way. And so we're looking at new technologies. We're looking at battery storage on our system to create better resilience for our customers. We're looking at microgrids and how doing a pilot project in partnership with TSU to see how can we utilize a microgrid to improve resiliency on the system. We're looking at self-healing technologies on the system. So if there's a pole that gets hit, how do we automatically restore power to the people around that area and limit the people that are out. So we're adopting all kinds of technologies and doing pilot projects to see where can we gain efficiencies, which ones of these projects add value for our customers.
So real quick, when you say clean energy, what are we talking about?
Clean energy, everyone's definition of clean energy is a little bit different. So I view clean energy to be certainly renewables. I view nuclear to be a clean energy. I think battery storage certainly supports that. It itself, batteries don't generate anything. They're certainly helpful and provide resilience, and they're typically a tool to help with intermittent resources such as renewables, but they themselves aren't necessarily clean. They're not dirty either, but they don't generate any real energy.
Well, we're going to put a pin right there, and we're going to have you come back, and we'll finish up some more wonderful conversation about NES and the work that you do and the work that your team does. And so, coming up, I'm joining other leaders on a panel with the Center for Nonprofit Excellence on August the 13th. We'll discuss secrets to success. I'll tell you the top 3 things to know for success as a leader. The event will begin at 8:30 a.m. To register and to attend, visit CNEM, centerformanagement.org. That's Center for Management, nonprofitmanagement.org. And looking ahead, the Urban League will have an annual meeting this fall. The annual meeting recaps our organization's achievement for the year. The meeting will be held October the 23rd, 2025, and I look forward to seeing you there. And this wraps up another edition of Urban League Live. I'm Clifton Harris, your host, and I'll see you next time right here on Urban League Live.